Well, hello again and welcome to Caravanning in Queensland. Take a look at this spot. They say this is where Queensland's Outback meets the sea, the tiny fishing and tourism hamlet of Karumba, all the way up there on the Gulf of Carpentaria. This is our final destination at the end of a very long drive for drought. Each Aussie winter, Karumba becomes a long-term destination for caravanners from all over the country. Victorians in particular have been following the sun north to the Gulf for years to escape the cold and engage in its thrilling saltwater fishing offerings. In fact, fishing is so popular here, one of the town's biggest draw cards is the Barra Discovery Centre, a hatchery and research station that welcomes tourists daily. The town itself hosts a big commercial fleet of prawn trawlers and barra boats, and it's not uncommon for recreational anglers to land a meatery off the beach beside the boat ramp. An easy cast from the caravan park is the Sunset Tavern, a watering hole at the end of the road that offers up icy cold beer, great food and sunsets that easily explain how the pub got its name. And while the town is full to the brim for winter, it does start to thin out in the spring, which is when we've arrived via some great little stops along the way. Hell's Gate Roadhouse is about a 4-hour drive west of Karumba through Burketown and lies virtually on the NT Queensland border, give or take 30 kilometres. It's a terrific spot to stop over for a few days, with plenty of grass and shady trees to keep you cool. And how could a place with a name like Hell's Gate not have a fire show? What a spectacular way to end the day.
Gonna put the world away for a minute, pretend I don't live in it.
The food offerings here are top-notch, and there are plenty of stores, diesel and ice to keep you supplied and ready to hit the road at a moment's notice. Another spot worthy of a mention on any Savannah Country expedition is Gregory Downs. This blink and you'll miss it hamlet is a must-do. And not just for the chance to wash the dust off in the Gregory River, which is an incredible oasis in the middle of some fairly inhospitable country. The Gregory runs cool and clear all year round, and might I say croc-free, except for the occasional freshie. The main street of town includes a pub, and across the road is the delightful Murray's Place.
Hi Murray.
G'day, how are you?
Good mate, I have 2 cups, 2 flat whites. Actually, can you put them in here?
Yeah, I can.
Chris and I'll have them in our new cups.
Great coffee and a lovely bloke in the middle of nowhere.
Nice taste.
Yeah, it's good, mate. Thank you very much. That is really good, really strong. Just how we like it. Thanks, mate.
Last but not least on our list of must-see destinations in the Gulf is its default capital and home of Chris the Giant Croc. Welcome to Normanton. Normanton is by far the biggest town up this way and sits on the banks of the Norman River. Not a river that we would suggest you swim in, given that Chris was found right here in it many years ago, along with the usual sharks, giant crabs and any number of other toothy critters. The Purple Pub is legendary and definitely worth a visit, as is the Albion Hotel, which is pumping tonight. There are a bunch of Toyota 40 Series Land Cruiser enthusiasts in town who are completing the long drive for drought. They aim to raise awareness and money for farmers in the Outback doing it tough after natural disasters like floods and drought. Tash and Steele from Farm Angels look after the charity and have camped all the way along this year's long drive.
Farm Angels was a charity that I established back in 2014 after hearing about a farmer who took his life during the drought, and I just needed to do something to stop another farmer from taking their life. I thought we'd be doing it for 3 to 6 months and the rains would come and the drought would break, but that took probably 6 or 7 years before the drought broke. And here we are 10 years later, and we do all sorts of disasters: fires, floods, mice plagues, droughts, and mental health.
You know, men especially, we're not good at putting our hand up and asking for help. And I think a lot of the time it's easier for a stranger to walk into these houses and see, you know, that they've got nothing in their pantry. Mate, I've been offered a cup of tea where the wife said, we've got no milk for tea. You know, so you're in someone's house and they're still so proud that they'll offer you something they actually don't have. The ability for those guys to have that conversation with a stranger, someone who doesn't judge them, it's huge.
The Gulf. Beautiful, rugged, unforgiving, unforgettable. There is plenty of blacktop up here these days if you're towing a van, but it's the kind of destination that does need careful consideration with regard to when and where you go, given its isolation and distance between towns and roadhouses. If you'd like to donate to the Long Drive for Drought, you can check out their website. Caravanning Queensland has plenty of tips and tricks for remote touring on theirs. That's all we've got time for on this episode of Caravanning in Queensland. We'll see you next time.